screaming from your soul. We watch it fall. Now you come to walk on. Come and set your light through. Just set your light through before we're only whispers in the wind. the light. I'm drowning into darkness. You'd be my escape. What have we been told? Easy to unfold. Future might seem out of reach, but we're getting close. We'll follow me when the sky starts to change. Yeah, we won't be afraid. We'll never be the same again. Will you follow me? We won't leave it to chance. We can't write our romance. We'll never be the same again. Will you follow me when the sky starts to change? Yeah, we won't be afraid. We'll never be the same again. Will you follow me when the sky starts to change? Yeah, we won't be afraid. We'll never be the That's what happens when you start playing with fire. Everyone burns in the end.
Doing it all for the thrill. I'm doing it,
will never make this right. I need to run and stay out of sight. And no choice, it was me or them. Now for a lifetime I'm condemned. I have to forget my old set way of life. I'll go to prison or die by the night. They try to kill me when I fought back. I collect the scars with a baseball bat. But justice will never make this right. I need to run and stay out of sight. And no choice, it was me or them. Now for a lifetime I'm condemned. I have to forget my old set way of life. I'll go to prison or die by the night.
Confirmed officer down 1980 Park Avenue.
To find why I'm so trying I can't comply. Why do I deny? This is giving, I'm giving to the world as the world turns around. These rivers flow uphill. Please don't take it all away. Persona, persona. I'm taking even less until more is found by my own two eyes. Why can't we hide? If this is breaking, I'm breaking optimism until my soul outshines like a raging fire. And don't you deny persona, persona.
Visions of a broken home. Mama's crying on the telephone. Crying out 'cause the money's gone. It always seems like there's something wrong. This I swear is more than I can bear. All your greed, you get everything from everyone. You cross the line. I've been beaten, broken down inside. I've been crawling so long with no place to go. I've just been sitting here thinking clear, the whole world just disappeared. I feel like I've died again. Bloody knuckles, broken picture frames, shattered childhood memories. This I swear is more than I can bear. All your greed took everything from everyone. You crossed the line. I've been beaten, broken down inside. I've been crawling so long with no place to go. I will not be broken down from all of the pain you caused. I pick myself off the ground. I will not be giving up. I've made up my mind. I've been beaten, broken down inside. I've been down for so long with no place to call my home. You crossed the line. I've been beaten, broken down inside. I've been crawling so long with no place to go. With no place
In her heart there's a hole, there's a black mark on her soul. In her hands is my heart, and she won't let go till it's scarred. Try to breathe but I can't, 'cause the air she feeds me is damned. Got a touch like a thorn, 'cause the girl she's hiding horns. She got blood cold as ice and a heart made of stone, but she keeps me alive. She's the beast in my bones. She gets everything she wants when she gets me alone, like it's nothing. She got two little horns and they give me a little She got two little horns and they give me a little She's a fire in the sand, and I burn breathing her in. Now it's love suicide, and I'll sell my soul for the high. Truth be told, I don't mind, 'cause her hell's my paradise. She can crush every hole, got her heels stomping down my goals. She got blood cold as ice and a heart made of stone, but she keeps me alive. She's the beast in my bones. She gets everything she wants when she gets me alone, like it's nothing. She got two little horns and they give me a little bit. She got two little horns and they give me a little bit. She got horns like a devil pointed at me, and there's nowhere to run from the fire she breathes. She got horns like a devil pointed at me, and there's nowhere to run from the fire she breathes. She got horns like a devil pointed at me, and there's nowhere to run from the fire she breathes. Horns like a devil pointed at me. She got
I know that we are far from waking saints, and I know we all bleed the same. Alone in the dead of night, whispers of birds come soon. But I know there's always a price to pay. Welcome to this nightmare. The worst is letting go. Tonight, we face ourselves tonight. To venting foes tonight. The war begins tonight. I'm trying again, yeah. Every single step I take, but I know we all bleed the same. My will has been paralyzed. This chemicals control. But I know there's always a price to pay. Welcome to this nightmare. The worst is letting go. Tonight, we face ourselves tonight. To venting foes tonight. The war begins tonight. I'm trying again, yeah. survive. Born into constant betrayal, set up to fail. Call me cynical, I must know keeps her alive. What keeps her alive? She won't open her mouth till we open her eyes. See the cross, she is born all alone. Will this laughter and scorn to hearts ever torn? She's dead and gone. How far from heaven did she fall? With broken wings, she barely crawls. No reasons left to stay alive. If there's a God, where's he to?
All right, what is up, everybody? It is time for another Waypoint Wednesdays. Let's get this turned down here. Right. What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the show. Episode number 2. We've got the alarm dogs going off, so making sure they're keeping the property safe. All right, so we're back. Waypoint Wednesdays, episode number 2, or second live stream. So hope you guys are having a good week so far, having fun, getting ready to do some riding, starting to feel better, and looking forward to getting back on the bike. So what are we talking about today? Today we're going to be talking a little bit about road books. Let's talk road books. Are they actually safer than a GPS track? So I don't know. Let's talk about that. Let's see. But first, before we even go that far, let's get caught up on what happened this week. So a couple things. So if you guys saw already or already are subscribed to the Chasing Waypoints podcast, you would have heard the episode that came out on Monday. We were talking with Keith Payton and Ace Nielsen of High Desert Adventures and their new adventure of providing rider support at the Sonora Rally for this year's 2022 edition. So that's going to be coming up March 14th through the 18th, I believe. So still waiting on entries to open for that one, but you can get over to the High Desert Adventures website and get signed up and get a spot reserved, because it's my understanding that there's only about 10 spots that they're doing. So definitely want to jump in on that one and make sure that you're signed up if you're thinking about participating in the Sonora Rally. And then also Ace is a really good resource. He's participated in the rally, planning on participating in the rally this year again as well. So I think it'll be a good team. They got a lot of experience between both of them doing events and also racing. Keith, a veteran and no stranger to off-road racing, with even plans of, well, actually, you know what? I'm not going to give it away. If you guys want to hear more about it, jump over to your favorite podcast platform, and you'll get a chance to listen to the interview. It was roughly about an hour long, so you should be able to hear it in a full day's commute. So anyway, let's see. What do we got? What else we got? All right, so we're talking road books. We've got some news. We got some hot off the press stuff. We're going to share a little bit about that. So, but all right. So let's talk. Let's see. How should we do this? Should we jump right into the news, or should we go into and talking about road books? Okay. Tell you what. I know what we're going to do. So let's do it this way. Let's talk one of 2 items hot off the press. So super stoked with this one. I was actually talking to the guys today about this kit. And for those of you in the adventure bike world, we're going to have, we got some stuff headed your way both right now and in a few minutes after we talk about road book safety and also, you know, what's safer, right? Road books or GPS. So let's jump into this. Okay, so I am super stoked to announce that I am officially on the waiting list and for a kit for what I think is my favorite adventure bike at the moment, the KTM 790. So here it is. I grabbed some spy shots or some shots from the Rade Garage Facebook page. If you guys can see that up on the screen, right? Wait, the camera's backwards. Right up there. Well, that's a road book, but over there. Yeah, there. So why am I excited about this? Well, first of all, I am the number one shiny object syndrome person in the world, and I saw this kit come out. There was some hype around it. There was a spy shot that was released, and I today was on the website. I had reached out to Rade and those guys, asking some questions, basic questions about the kit, and I was trying to get some insider info, but they were very tight-lipped about this project, which rightfully so. I think once again they've done a really good job on coming up with a kit. So basically it comes down to making the bike about 5 inches narrower at the tanks, and then moving the weight down a little bit further. So making the bike a little bit narrower of a profile, and then also at the same time adding protection in the right places. So not only are you getting 2 tanks narrower and lower in weight, you're also getting carbon fiber skid plates that bolt to the stock aluminum skid plate, or if you have the same style skid plate, they'll bolt to that. Weight savings, I believe, is about 6 pounds with those tanks and that setup. Something interesting is it does have now 2 fuel nozzles, or 2 fill holes for it. They're fueled individually, plumbed the same way, fuel pump on one side with the spigot on the other side. And then they're also offering a set of rear tanks as well, that you can also install, and with the same form factor as the side pods. So I did, on my personal bike, I did have the Ryan Adventure tanks. For my size and weight, I like to move around a lot on the bike, back and forth. For me personally, the Ryan Adventure tanks were just a little too close to my calves. Great tanks though, very, very stout. But it just, for my particular riding style, it just did not really jive with me. But if you have a 790 Adventure and you do a lot of cross country, a lot long roads, not really doing a whole lot of dirt, but some fire roads, or if you have the Adventure R and you do venture a little bit more, you may not mind them. It's kind of like having like the steg pegs on your bike, where you kind of squeeze up against it and it'll hold the boot there solid for you. Some people like that, some people don't. I think I figured it out with those tanks that it really wasn't my style, but that doesn't mean they're not going to work for you. So with Rade coming out with their kit, and having those rear tanks, right now we're looking at getting that front setup, getting it narrower. Not only that, but also the integrated crash bar protection to protect the edge of the radiators. And it's like bitch and billet aluminum. I mean, it looks super, super stout. You're going to have to jump over to the website. I'll put a link in the description so you guys can see that. But definitely a stout product. And I'm looking forward to it. I really want to check this thing out, get it all mounted up, and more projects, right? But once that stuff gets here, I'll be looking forward to installing it and getting it going. But it just makes the bike look smaller. So we'll see. And you end up losing, you lose about half a gallon of fuel capacity. But you can gain that back if you're running the back tank setup, or if you're running, if you run like a Rotopax like I do. So there's it's not a deal breaker at all. Half a gallon of gas to some people, yeah, that may be a lot, but if you're planning your stuff right, you should be able to make it no problem. The other side of that too is where you lose that is kind of up on top and between the 2 tanks. They put this real badass carbon fiber, basically like a little cubby that fits about, I think it actually is about a half a gallon, cubic centimeters. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. But I don't know. I was watching the video on the Rade website, and he pulled a can of Red Bull, a wallet, and a cell phone out of there, and it looked like it still had a little bit of room. So that's about roughly what you can put in there, which is awesome. Because I mean, yeah, for goggle cleaning, some cloths, some basic stuff, maybe even the motorcycle paperwork. I don't know. There's some good stuff that can be put in there, I'm sure. So you're checking it out on the screen up there, and yeah, the thing looks awesome. I already have their Rade Garage tower for the 790. It's just I liked it. It was one of the very first kits. They did a really good job with the carbon fiber and everything. I've already shaken it down on roads in Baja and done my best. Put a heavy GPS up on the top there and had no problems. Went riding, took the 790 setup with the rally stuff over to the northern high desert, I guess you could call it, out there with Gnarly Dave and riding that thing around and no issues whatsoever. So I was absolutely excited to see how the tower's been performing and everything's been doing good. The lights on it are awesome. A lot of visibility. They have a real good cutoff on them as well. And I mean, they're 4,000 lumens a piece. So, I mean, it's comparable to like a Baja Designs light or something like that. And then they have the little controller unit or whatever. So it doesn't trigger the bike. You know, it fools the CAN system on the bike. So you don't get any error lights on it. So I've been blown away by the quality of it. I have the pegs on it as well. So it's kind of turning into a Rade Garage build. So Rade Garage, taking care of the 790 on that one. And then we'll talk more about the motor-minded stuff because that build is getting started soon. So I'm looking forward to that as well. So we're going to be doing the Project 501 or Project 501 is what it really seems like. That one, we're looking at the motor-minded rally tower up front, W wheels. We've got, I don't know, let's see. I think we're doing... we got Conflict working on suspension on that one. We're working our way through that. We've got it is a little bit of a process to think about it, and I don't know, but we'll see. It's good. You want to take your time and get the right setup in there. So, and speaking to Alex, he's done a few of these 4CS forks and knows kind of the secret sauce on them. So we'll see. Can't wait to ride them. So W wheels, the Conflict suspension. We've got a Chirby's with all the plastics and the gas tank, everything set up. I got Metzler tires. I was down at San Diego BMW Motorcycles down there with Troy and Jeff and talking to those guys about different parts and stuff like that for the bike, which is cool. I mean, it's BMW dealership. That's my 850 GS came from there. I used to work there. I know the ins and outs of the bike, so that's my bike there out that I ride around as well. But they have a parts department and they have access to all the catalogs. So there we go, shop local. So doing that. So 2 projects kind of going on this weekend though. It's Project 501 is getting love this weekend. So garage finally ready, set up. It's been an ongoing project, but yeah, we're ready to build some bikes. So, okay, so that is that. So now let's talk road books. So you guys can see it on the back here. And the question I posed today was super simple. Are road books safer than a GPS track? So road books being safer than a GPS track. So I've ridden both. Primarily, I've ridden GPS tracks. I'm familiar with the electronics of a GPS, but in working with people and talking with people and riding with people, there was something that I kind of noticed that's been going on, or that I kind of picked up on too, is that there's a lot of people that don't necessarily take the time to understand their GPS and how it functions, and it's very important to do so. It's really not that hard. I mean, it's just a matter of taking the time to learn it. And the idea behind the GPS, Fabian, what's up? The idea behind the GPS is that you have your pre-planned route, or you have a route, something that you're following, but you need to know how it's set up and how it's going to function. It's not telling you what to do. You're just supposed to follow along with it. And in some cases, and even me myself exploring new trails, I remember the latest instance where this happened is that one of the features had gotten turned off. So I'm following this line, and everything is lining up until it came time to make a turn. Well, what I noticed is that turn, I went the opposite way. And what I figured out is that the map actually wasn't rotating for north being up. So when I'm coming up to a turn, it's telling me that, you know, it's going to curve off to what is the left on the screen, but the map is actually upside down because north was at the bottom. So it's kind of confusing. You have to see it in person to kind of see how it functions, but rookie mistake, super simple. I mean, and it could be easy. Now the other side of that coin is that, okay, well, you get into this you get into this trail, you're heading down, you're bombing down it and all that stuff. And then all of a sudden you look down at the GPS, you thought you were on track, and all of a sudden you're not. So now it's like, okay, well, how do I navigate back to that? So not panic. Obviously you got to do some circles and try and get your bearings right, and then get back into it. Hold on to that. You're going to need that here in a minute. So that's the GPS side of it, right? And it's like a calculator. You get what you put into it. You know, if it's crap in, it's crap out. You know, it's if you don't know how to set it up, if you don't know waypoints, you don't know that kind of stuff, it could make for a longer day. So jumping back. Okay, now let's talk road books. So on that poll that we did on the Chasing Waypoints Instagram, so if you're not following that, jump on that. You can still vote. It's still up for another few hours, actually till tomorrow morning or something like that. But anyway, so right now we're at 70%. 70% of people say that a road book is safer than a GPS track. And some people say no, a GPS track is safer than a road book. And there's two sides to it. But it depends on what you value most. And so for a lot of people, a road book like that behind me is going to be intimidating. And because there's a lot of directions on it, there's a lot of stuff going on, and you may not necessarily understand it right away. And with that, what ends up happening is that it leads to confusion, and you feel like, okay, well, I don't actually know the way. There are tricks to getting back on course. There are things that you can do to find and do what you need to do. And so going back, we know how the GPS files work. Now let's talk, the roadbook side of it. Okay, well, I personally believe that a roadbook is safer, and this opinion actually kind of changed recently. One, being around roadbooks for a while, right, and just looking at them, and you get used to seeing it, and then you're reading the notes, and you start picking up like what that note means, and it's just like learning another language. You see a symbol, now all of a sudden you know what that symbol means, and you don't have to think about it. So that's one aspect, right? So if the initial thing is like, oh, this is confusing. Okay, yeah, it is, but it's only for a few minutes until you figure it out and somebody kind of holds your hand on it. Then we jump into, all right, well, on a GPS line is literally just a line, line on the screen that you follow and do. So that's cool. But if the person that laid that out, or if you did it in Google Earth, or you did it in Google My Maps, I do a lot of GPS tracks in Google My Maps, you are writing line of sight. So if you haven't been down it before and you haven't actually marked waypoints and safeties and things like that, things that, hey, this is a point of interest, whether it be good or bad, great picture, or you're going to end up in a ditch, or rain ruts or anything that could catch you by surprise. If you haven't gone out and marked it and put in that work, you have no indication. You're just riding line of sight. And what you can see is what you can ride, and you can only ride as fast as what you can see. So when it comes to a road book, I think recently, that thought process changed where now the road books to me seem like it is something where it's safer because things are marked and directions are marked and turns are marked, and there's also, in the center, in the tulip itself, you have your distances, you have the tulip, and then you have a description. Well, you have your distance, so you know how far from the start of this trail, you know how far from the last direction you got, and then you know exactly where like the turn is, right? And if there's multiple things there'll be a compass heading on it. There'll be some other stuff, like there could be a building, or there could be a fence, or there could be a wash, or there could be rocks, or there could be trees or something. There's going to be more description in there. But then also, if you're going flat out across the desert, and then all of a sudden, the next node is 10 kilometers away, you're looking at your odometer and you're saying, okay, I'm getting there. And then you see all these exclamation points and then the dip and all of this stuff, then right away that, okay, this is. Whereas if you're just riding a GPS, you're going to have to constantly be looking down at something and kind of gauging it, right? Because you can zoom it in. I zoom in my GPS. I'm usually at about 250 feet or so. So it's constantly moving. And that kind of gives me an idea. But I still don't know the exact distance from here to there. So start slowing down a little bit earlier. On the waypoint or on a note, you have two indicators. You have the previous mileage from the distance from the first note to the next note. And then you have the note from the last note to this note. So you have multiple distances that you can reference. Then you know what it is, and then you have a description. So I believe because of that, road books tend to be safer. Somebody is actually, the only way you could make a GPS track safer in that sense is the person that goes out to make the GPS track takes the time to mark the dangers and everything there. And then you as a rider are riding it super zoomed in so that you can really tell how close you're getting to that. But then the other thing you got to remember is how fast are you going, and would you rather be looking at the road or looking down? If you know, if you know on a road book, it's like, hey, I got 10 kilometers to go, and you're looking at your odometer and you can see that, then, I'm in it. You got 6 or so miles of just go for it before you get to the next issue or the next note or the next direction. So there's that argument, right? And then the other argument is going to be, well, what about the getting lost? Well, what if I, ride off into the sunset and I completely misjudge this road book and I make a wrong turn? Well, I worried about that, but after doing my first road book, I noticed some things. Is that the waypoints are a point of certitude. It's like you hit that waypoint, you're there. But if you are riding and you're riding your way into that waypoint, right? Not every single note is a waypoint, is not a hard point, but they're just directions to get you to that point. You notice when when you hit a note, you show up and it's like, okay, here's the bush, here's that. It's a V shape, right? There's the trail that heads back the other way. That's my trail. That's what I need to do. And you jump and you just know it. Or there'll be a turn that kind of fades off into the right and you see it in the tulip and you just like automatically pick up on it. Yeah, fading to the right. I see I got electrical towers to the right of me. Matches up with the tulip. We're golden. So you're on it, like you're getting those pointer references. So if you get turned around and okay, well, yeah, I remember I got to go back to that Y because I know I had the power lines on the right of me, and so I know I was there. So now it's like, okay, well, let me go back to that point and let's start this over again. This is something that we heard a lot of just a few weeks ago at the Dakar, right? And people, getting turned around on those, what is that, kilometer 260, hunting for the waypoint and trying to find it. Then we had the story of Mason and that group of front riders where they kind of got off track a little bit early, and Mason turned around, and then the rest of the guys just decided to hang a right and cut and get over to where they thought the waypoint was. Well, they nailed it, and by the time Mason got back, they were gone. But Mason went back and did what he needed. He went back to, I know I was here. I know this part in the road book. Now it's time to move on to the next. So I think based on that, once you understand how a road book works, then you know what? I mean, I feel that it is safer than an actual, than the actual GPS track. So I don't know. I would invite you to comment below and see, hey, what do you think? Do you think, looking at a road book versus looking at a GPS, which one may be safer? What are the thoughts, behind that and on your side? So I'm curious to see. So there's a lot of road books. There's a lot of basic road book stuff that you can do. I am actually going to be putting up on the Chasing Waypoints website. For those of you that are kind of curious about this, I'm looking to get started. After talking to so many people, a lot of people do recommend, hey, start making road books. If you start making road books, you start understanding the language and you start understanding kind of how they're formed and what they do. So, well, how do you do this? Okay, well, what I'm going to do is on the Chasing Waypoints website is I'm actually going to come up with a bunch of real simple city GPX files. and post them up. And these are going to be around the neighborhood, and they're going to be short, easy files, easy GPXs, nothing super complicated. But I'm going to make them so that people can download them and then download them and import them into your program of choice. I am looking forward to getting on the new desktop version of Rally Navigator. That one kind of is the standard. Those were the road books that I learned and learned how to manipulate them in Rally Navigator working with Baja Rally. So it's kind of second nature, but the tool is there, and all the stuff that you're going to need is in there. So once you have a GPX file, now you don't have to worry about it, right? You can just grab that GPX file and then just go navigate some city streets. Well, if you're here in San Diego, but if not, have somebody draw up a GPX file and create a little route, and then convert that to a GPX and then import it into Rally Navigator, and then see, mark the turns, look at the SAT image, see what you can see, and then go out and try it. Go sit in the driver's seat or go sit in the passenger seat, have somebody drive, and you tell them where to go. And through practice, that's how they do it. I mean, Mason did not get to where he was because he got lucky. It's because he was out there running road books. If you guys saw the picture that I put on the Chasing Waypoints Instagram, he was pointing at all of those rubber bands. Each one of those rubber bands represents a road book, and that's on his practice bike here stateside. So that's a stack. Like, he's ran a lot of road books, and that not to mention the ones that probably have already like snapped off and are off into the great beyond. But it takes practice, and it's not something that you're going to figure out, right away. But I can tell you that when you nail your first waypoint, when you nail your first directions, and you say, dude, I built this up to be way harder than I thought it was actually going to be. And it's not, you just need to get out there and do it. But so that's one side of it. Let's see. Can you mark or highlight a GPS unit? So Fabian, on that one, so marking and highlighting on a GPS unit, not like you can on a road book. On the road book, especially on a paper road book, or even if it is electronic road book and it's a PDF, they have the PDF apps where you can, like, with your finger highlight notes and do stuff on there. On a GPS, the way to highlight or the way to mark is you have to actually go out and ride it and then create the waypoint and create a waypoint. And in that waypoint, you can change it to skull and crossbones. You can add a brief description. There's keys, right? Gas station, medical, hotel, those kind of things. You can all drop those in. So that would help. But the thing is that you have to go out and do it. And so it makes it a little bit tougher, I guess, in that sense, where sometimes you might be able to pick up, like from a satellite image, you might be able to pick up like, dude, okay, this road jumps into a sand wash. There's likely something there, some transition. I can see I'm on hard pack. I'm going to be going into a sand wash. I should probably put a note there as a reminder to myself that, slow it down. So there's different ways of approaching it, but yes, the answer ultimately is yes, you can mark the GPS unit. You can mark a road book. It happens in different times and different reminders. So before, you used to see Gnarly Dave tuning in from the high desert. On the road book side of it, it used to be where you got the road books early, marked them up, and did all of this stuff. This year at Dakar, it looks like they had eliminated that part, and now they were just strictly two running road books that were pre-highlighted. And so there's kind of a standard of how they do things. There are, in collecting, I don't know how many, at least 100 road books from riders and seeing how they mark them. Every rider has a different style of making notes and marking their road books so that it makes sense to them. Like if there's notes that are close to each other, if there's dangers, if it's a left turn, it's blue. If it's a right turn, it's green, different stuff like that. So you get a little bit more freedom on that, and you can kind of come up with your own system on that one. So everybody, like I said, everybody's got a different way of doing it. So let's see here. All right, what do we got here? Let's see, let's jump back, see if anybody else has jumped in on this. I'm still excited about that Rade Garage kit. Let's see, we got some more votes. Yeah. Road books are definitely going to take the lead on being safer than a GPS track. So if you want to find out more about that, well, all you got to do is just get them done and jump in. So like I said, I'll put some links up, and I'm going to do that. I think it's kind of cool to be able to just pull a GPX file out of nowhere, and then just lay it out, get familiar with how to put a point, how to put notes, how to set up a tulip, just based on the satellite image that you can see. So I think that just by doing that, you're going to be able to kind of start getting the hang of the road books. And then next thing you know, maybe you've already got some GPS tracks that you've already kind of done, and you can export them as a GPX from the GPS, and then import them into Rally Navigator and get it going. So that's a whole nother way of doing things as well. So let's see here. All right. Let's see. Just checking the notes here. And let's see. We got some. All right. Thank you to Larry and Mauricio. Thank you guys for tuning in and sharing the link. Get some more people on for tonight. And then, like I said, we're going to be doing this. I think we've officially got Waypoint Wednesdays, and then the podcasts on either Sunday or Monday for the Chasing Waypoints podcast. So if you guys got stuff that you want to talk about, you can always jump in on the chat, and I don't know, we'll change subjects. But that was a question that kind of came up, and I was watching a video of the Touratech rally and this rally that they were doing on the bigger bikes, and that was one of the things that somebody said. He saw, I'm afraid of GPS tracks. A road book tells me right there, hey, there is a danger coming up. And so you already know it. You know that it's coming. You know what to expect. And what kind of danger is it? What kind of thing? How much do I have to rope it in? Because, well, obviously, if you've done some desert racing and stuff like that, you kind of know to gauge it that, some people will put one down arrow for something that's like super simple, or they'll put 2 down arrows for something that's super simple, or they'll put 3 down arrows for that. And then it's up to you to decide, well, I think this is good, or it's blown out. They put 1 down arrow for it, and then you get there and it's like this holy drop off, off into the great beyond. And you just kind of don't know what to expect. So at least with the road book, you've got a description of what it is. Okay, what is it? Is it ruts? Is it off camber? Is it a drop? Is it a ledge? Is it whoops? Is it what? You kind of get more information than just, oh, danger. And in an easier way to read. And it's not just like, a little point on a map next to this line that you're following. So, all right, let's see here. What do we got? All right, so let's talk. I got one more piece of news that's coming out very, very soon. You guys are gonna get to see me tap dance today, and let's see if we can do this successfully without revealing too much. So one of the biggest things, and actually I noticed this. Let's see, Mike Georgeson posted this up, and in a couple of different places, and asked basically, what is the idea, like what holds people back from getting into rally raids? And it was an interesting thing, right? There was options for, of course, right now that I'm trying to find the post, I won't be able to find it. So if anybody listening live, they can tag me in it, and I will jump right to it. But in the end, basically we had different options, right? So is it prize money? Is it location? Is it the cost? Is it top guys being there? What is it? And the 2 biggest that were up at the top was 1, the cost, and 2, the location. So makes perfect sense. Rally raids tend to be a little bit more expensive on the surface. Now I'll kind of offshoot on that here. We'll put that on the bench here for just a sec, but so you have that, and then you have the location side of it, right? And what to expect, and what kind of roads and things that you're going to be on, and the terrain, and that's a valid point. What am I signing up for? So let's go back to the cost, and kind of, I'm going to come at this from the off-road racing side of it. And I covered this in one of the episodes on the Chasing Waypoints podcast. But if you didn't hear it, it was basically, it broke it down to this. It's okay. So if I want to go race Baja, for, we'll just take a stab at the 1,000, right? I want to go race the 1,000. So that means that I'm going to need one race bike. Okay, that's same as rally. I'm going to need a few sets of wheels. Okay. I'm going to need a few wheel sets, spread them across. Okay. So instead of carrying them in one place, they got to be spread across the peninsula, so that they're in strategic locations. So that's similar in Rally Raid. So then we get into where I think the big part of the cost, depending on where the rally is, there's going to be travel expenses. There's going to be bike rental expenses if you're doing it that way. But let's just talk about North America. So if I'm going to go race the Baja, that means I'm going to need, pit stops at every 50 to 100 miles. So I'm going to have to pay for a pit service, and I'm going to have a pretty good team of guys. So now I got hotel rooms for those guys. I got food for those guys. I got gas for the extra chase trucks. So you got a whole set of expenses just right there. Insurance, and, you got to talk to Jeff down at Baja Bound and get insurance there, or, with one of the other guys. But now it's okay. Well, what are those, all those hidden costs with more people and everything going now? All right, well, let's take a look at the Rally Raid. Okay, well, Rally Raid, the organization handles the pit stop, and basically says fuel is here. Depending on which event you're doing, it's either a organization provided fuel stop, or it is a fuel stop where you have to have a chase team there. Now, okay, so that means now you got to bring one person, maybe two people, and they're in a certain location, and that's it. So then at the end of the day, you come back and all your tires and wheels are there. So you could have two sets of wheels and a bunch of tires, and then you just have the tools to change the tires. So now bivouacs are necessary generally at a hotel, but now you don't have a big amount of people that you have to provide shelter for. So then now your accommodation costs are lower. So on the surface, it looks expensive, but if you compare it to other forms of motorsport, it is going to be different. And then, I don't know, the gear, it takes more people to race the bike, right? Unless you're in the Ironman class, then, there's even more expenses there because they're going to bring people and they're going to do this stuff. So the bill adds up very quickly when you compare it to a rally raid, especially if you're doing a rally raid that's local. If you're flying across the ocean and renting a bike and you're going to run in a supported rally, there's going to be a much higher cost associated with that. But for us recreational guys and the recreational guy that's getting into this, if you could pick between the two sports, it's rally raid is going to be a little bit less expensive. You got to buy navigation equipment, but that versus, the pace of the racing, the terrain that you're on is generally a lot less, is not as rough as what you would experience like in a Baja race. It's not as clapped out, especially now that you have trophy trucks pre-running for the trophy trucks and just chewing everything up. So there's definitely some cost differences there. And then the location, this is funny because this is a conversation that's come up a lot about the locations, and generally rally raid is a little bit less, or is a little more tamed as far as the terrains and things that you cross. But there was something that in the five or 6 years that I was with Baja Rally that always stood out to me. And I was the guy, like I always wanted to be, I was at the starts generally, and then I was when they left the bivouac, and then I would be at the finish line when they would come in and start collecting times off of the rally comp. And I'll give away my secret a little bit, but part of it was I wanted to know how the day went, and how they were doing, and what they thought of the route and how that went for them. And then the other part is, checking in on them, because in a rally raid, you're going to put some miles in, and maybe not on day one, but day 2, day 3, day 4, day 5, people come into the starting or to the finish line, and you're trying to all right, how are they doing? I saw it at Sonora Rally on one of the days after they got out of the dunes. They were super hot. I'm asking people the same question, and I'm watching people come in and they're holding their sides and they're kind of leaning over a little bit, a little slow to respond. Well, that's telling me that, hey, chill for a minute. There's a chair right there. There's some fruit. There's some, there's more to it, right? You're constantly, because what these guys go out and do, you are pushing yourself. And like I said, day one, 200-mile route, hey, not a problem. But you got to remember, now you're going to go do that for 3 or 4 more days. So for those thinking like, well, racing wise, I feel like you get more bang for your buck just in that from a rally. So there's one point. But in my time with Baja Rally, to hear people like, say for instance, I'll never forget it, is like to hear people like Steve Hengeveld, Mr. Baja, right? Him and Johnny Campbell know every trail down there, every back road, everything. That's their job. They got to know how to get in and out of places. They got to know where they need to be. And to have somebody like Steve Hengeveld come into the line and say, I've been racing down here forever and I've never been down these roads. It means a lot. And there's some really picturesque stuff and some really unique terrain down there that really isn't that bad, but it's so like remote and hidden. And I'll, hats off to Scotty from Baja Rally for creating these routes, and most of the time riding by himself. And we're at work, and Mauricio and myself at that time we're any minute, waiting for the phone to ring that, there's an alert from InReach that, hey, something's up or he needs help or whatever it is. And, fortunately we had a couple of those. And fortunately they were quickly resolved because there's a whole team around, so many people, you meet so many people like Poncho Alonso and those guys from DS Pro. You build that team. And so it's safer down there. And so where am I going with this? The location, yeah, but it's definitely a lot to see down on the Baja side. All right, let's see here. Let's go in. All right, Dave, Utah closed to racing. Yeah, I heard that. I did hear something about that, and that one's going to be interesting because there's let's see. I mean, there's definitely a lot of terrains and places that people go riding, and I think that I don't know that it's necessarily just racing. I think they're actually working on closing it down to more recreational riding. I believe Moab, I think, was the first place that came to mind. If they're going to say, well, you know what, you can't be riding or you can't be doing this kind of activity. That's gonna suck. But like a couple people brought up, and Mike from Kota mentioned this too, is that we have to be self-policing. We have to respect the land that we're on. We have to respect the people that we run across. And I wholeheartedly believe that, and I apply those very same things in Baja. When you go riding in Baja, right? The ranchers, that's their road. It's not my road, and I don't ever, well, it's not their road and it's not my road either. No, it's their road, and they're the ones that traverse that every single day. And we're the ones that are beating it up for our own pleasure. And, so I'm the first guy to sit down, drop it into second, and just cruise, wave at the guy, hey, and not go blowing his doors off like I was in some Baja race and, chasing danger. And, no, it's not about that. So let's see. So that's going to be an interesting one. I think there's going to be some arguments for that Utah closed to racing thing. Fabian, let's see. So spectators in all of this. Rally Raid isn't too spectator friendly. Yeah, inherently that's true. Rally raids generally, at least the North American stuff, aren't necessarily too easy to get to as a spectator. But that is something that as the sport kind of grows and people get interested in it, it could change. I mean, if you were so inclined and really wanted to do so, and as I'm thinking about this live on the air, I mean, it could totally be possible. But, you could talk to Sonora Rally, or you could talk to Baja Rally, and possibly, hey, you know what? I'm interested in attending the event and I want to hang out. And I want a bivouac pass, right? So you can be in the bivouac, you can get food, you can do that kind of stuff and kind of hang out and talk and mingle amongst the rally racers. And, you could go, possibly even go find a finish line somewhere and watch, a part of them come in. And obviously the integrity of the course is very important. So there's going to be some limitations to that. But if I really thought about it and I said, okay, well, you know what? I want to go chase the Baja Rally, or I want to go chase the Sonora Rally, and I'm going to get a bivouac pass, and I'm going to take my gear and I'm just going to ride from bivouac to bivouac. And well, what am I going to get to see? Well, I'm going to go, let's say for Baja Rally, like on one of the previous years, I'm going to get to stay in Ensenada, then I'm going to go to San Quintin, and then I'm going to go down to Catavina, maybe hang out at Mama's for the day. And then I'm going to cross over after Catavina. We're going to go to San Felipe, and then after San Felipe, we're going to come back. Sounds like an adventure ride to me. So, but now you're doing that. There's a bunch of people around, and then all that stuff. And yeah, you're on your own, right? The organization, the safety teams and the stuff like that. They're there for the racers, so you still have to, obviously conduct yourself accordingly. But yeah, get to hang out with a bunch of buddies, talk about a bunch of racing stuff. And see these guys, these rally bikes, and do all that stuff. The bivouac experience is much different than any pits that you would see at a Baja race. At a pit section in a Baja race to go spectate, you could go walk, kind of hang out at the pit there, but you're getting kind of brushed off and shined off, and don't park here, don't go there. This is our spot. Get away from our spot. There's a lot that happens there. But yeah, the course is public knowledge. But that's also part of the reason why it's getting limited. So I think as these events grow and things get considered, I think we may see some areas where, hey, you know what? We're going to set up a spectator area on these stages. And so people can come down, or if they're interested, or if there's a particular, group and says, hey, you know what? We can set up a tour, and that person that leads it knows, okay, this axis, we're going to go in here, but so we can hang out and watch these guys come through for a few hours, and then we're going to head over to this spot, and then we'll go to the bivouac, And if it was me, I would pick a spot where it's up high on a hill where you can kind of see the lay of the land, enjoy it, and then you get to see these guys, one riding off into the sunset because he picked the wrong note at the fork, and then figuring it out and coming back. And then the other guy's just blowing through it. And there's still, the guys that go to race this stuff, they mean business. You're still going to see bikes, that are on it. So I think it's coming. Dakar and those, it's a whole nother game. And Dakar, South America Dakar, because Dakar, Saudi Arabia, the spectating and that kind of stuff, it seems a little bit more tame than when it was in South America. So at least that's my point of view on it. So, all right, we're going to go. We got a few more minutes. So is that enough anticipation for the other news? We'll actually use that as a transition. So talking about tours. So there's been a rumor, and there's been some information that I got to, it's almost like Snapchat. Like it was there and then it was gone. And I only got to read it once. And what it outlined and kind of showed was that there's some stuff coming for the guys on bigger bikes, and that would like to get into Rally Raid and would like to maybe run some road books, but in a non-competitive type setting. So still going to be road sections, liaisons. There's still going to be starts. There's still going to be a finish, and there's still going to be a liaison, and there's still going to be a bivouac. So you're going to get basically the whole like rally experience, but without that, the timing and the all of that. It's just basically going out, riding some road books, and practicing and learning and riding with your friends, and just going through these experiences. Now, with that being said, now it's like, well, okay, well, yeah, the cost. I don't know. I think there's going to be a press release and some stuff coming on Monday for it. But you'll be able to figure out a little bit more information by then or on that day. But on Monday is my understanding that it'll be officially released. So at least on the bigger bike side of it and the terrains, what is if it's going to be on a bigger bike, the terrain, you can't really go single track Travis Brock every single Sunday. Yes, I know you like the single track and you send your 790 through some stuff that I would never do so. But with that being said, and if you guys haven't checked it out, check out every single Sunday on Instagram, or you can also catch him on YouTube. But he's got some pretty gnarly videos on his 790. And then he just finished building a badass beta. A badass gas that he just finished up with the Moto-Minded tower on it, and just one of his full builds. So he builds some really, really clean bikes. So if you haven't already, jump over to his Instagram, follow him, or also check out the YouTube channel. You can see a little bit more of the stuff that he does. But anyway, so in talking about this and that brief, it's like, well, the terrain has to be adventure bike friendly, right? And because the idea isn't to make it super difficult to ride, and then at the same time, not super difficult to navigate. The idea is to get more people into the sport. And so many people spent money on these 700s and on these 790s and these 890s, and there's such a capable machine. It's like the next logical step, right? I don't want to go race a Baja with it. I'm not Wes Van Nieuwenhuis on the Rottweiler 790 rally bike. I would rather go ride these badass, big fire roads, maybe something a little narrower, do some road sections, but go see this Baja, go see this other side and follow some road books and enjoy it and just get into it. So I think that with what's coming, it's going to be huge. And it's not just adventure bikes. My understanding is there's going to be a few other classes involved with this. So I think that's going to be huge. I really do believe that it's going to be a gateway, and I think a lot of people are going to get more into it. I'm looking forward to it. I'm stoked. It's like I can't wait to find out more and see what can be done, because again, I believe the even the skinny bikes, even the guys with the 500s and the 450s and the 350s, having the opportunity to basically run kind of like your own class and ride with your buddies and do some road book stuff and not be timed and have I'm going to use the term dumbed down road book, but it's not really that. It's just a road book that's meant for more of a beginner application and more of a noob to it, a rookie. And having a support team and having people there and it being a legit, event is safer than a group of guys just going out into the great beyond, basically unsupported. So I can't really talk a whole lot more about some of the details and some of the stuff, but Monday is, from what I understand, and the last message that I received is Monday is when the cover comes off, they pull the curtain back, and everything is there. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. So if you don't see it right away, Monday, as soon as it can be released, I'll put it up on the Chasing Waypoint socials. So you'll see it on Facebook and on Instagram as well. So I think, I don't know. I think that's going to be a huge step forward, and I'm looking forward to it. I think we're going to be just in time. I'll have the stuff from Rade Garage in on the 790. I'll have the Project 501 set up and ready. So I'm looking forward to it. Which reminds me, I got to call Matthew at Rally Moto Shop. Matt, if you're watching, I got another order for you. So it's only money, but you know what? You invest in the good stuff, and just like anything else that you would, I mean, we all, I'm guilty. I bought all the orange parts for the 790. Didn't miss a page in the catalog. I'm still trying to get Chris over at Rottweiler to give me the bank info so I could just have my 9 to 5 plumb some of the paycheck over to them, make it easier. So, you know, you buy the good stuff, you buy the stuff, you treat your bike right, you treat all your stuff right. And obviously the end result is you have a solid machine. So Project 501 or Project 501, that's the plan. So almost there, almost got all the parts together and everything. Said I've been sitting on this moto-minded tower now since October of last year. And then the wheels just came in and all of this stuff. So I think I'm just missing a front fender now from a Churby's. Almost there. I don't like to start building a bike and then have to stop because I'm missing something. So we'll see. Hopefully tomorrow I get my other stuff from San Diego BMW Motorcycles. And yeah, so we'll make that happen. So, all right, what do we got? I think that was it. So yeah, keep an eye out for that other announcement coming out on Monday. I'll be sharing that as soon as it comes out. I'm going to make sure that they put me on the list and to let me know exactly what time it is going to be going live. So you guys can check that out. And then let's see here. What do we got? Let's check the socials one more time. See if we got anything that we got going on here. All right. So I think that is a wrap. Yep, that's right. The timer ran out and we started the live show. What else we got? No, that's it. All right. That is a wrap. Waypoint Wednesdays, number 2. Episode number 2. I don't know how we're going to number this, but we'll figure it out, you know, just like somehow we ended up with this podcast. And on the way to 15,000 plays on the Chasing Waypoints podcast. I just saw that today. It's crazy. So if you haven't already, make it 15,001. Jump over. I'll put the link in the description. Jump over to the Chasing Waypoints podcast. Subscribe to that. You'll get updates on that. And I'm going to be sharing information on both of those. If you haven't already, go back and listen to the last episode where we talked with Ace Nilsson and Keith from High Desert Adventures. Thank you, Fabian, for tuning in. And go check that episode out on your favorite. It's on Google, Apple, Spotify, Rocket Cast, and all sorts of others. If you type in Chasing Waypoints podcast into Google, you'll find it. So go back, check that episode out, find out a little bit more about what they're doing if you're interested in riding as a supported rider at the Sonora Rally. And then also, if you haven't already, jump back to last week's Waypoint Wednesdays. You can find it also here on the YouTube channel. We were talking with Kyle McCoy and Dave Pearson from American Rally Originals. So their story is really awesome. They're actually looking at or going to be competing in the Dakar. They're starting their efforts. It's going to be a team of 5, if I remember correctly, that are going to run this event, and they're going to run it in the Originals by Motul class, which means Malimoto. So don't forget Malimoto. Those are the Ironman guys of Rally. They said, nope, we don't need the teams. We don't need the massages. We don't need we don't need the water boys. We don't need any of that. We're going to do it all ourselves. We've got this. We'll see. Interesting tidbit that Kyle McCoy shared in that episode. Actually, there's a couple of cool facts, but if you want to know more about it, you're going to have to go back and check it out. Anyway, all right, don't forget, like, subscribe, hit the bell notification so you get, let's see, guys. Yeah, bell notification, I think, somewhere down in there. The screen's backwards, so it's kind of weird to, figure it out. Anyway, all right, hope you guys have a good week. Don't forget to tune into the podcast. We'll see you guys on Sunday for that one, or if not, we'll see you next Wednesday for the next episode or the next installment of Waypoint Wednesdays. See ya.